Hi, welcome to Budget MTG Decks. All magic fun, all cards from $1. I'm David.
I'm Stefan.
And today we're going to be looking at all the white cards in Ixalan. Also, I'd like to let you know that we have a Patreon page, so consider helping us out by going to patreon.com/budgetmtgdecks.
Yeah, we're gonna evaluate the cards for limited, like draft or sealed. Sealed like your pre-release that's coming up. And you'll get 6 booster packs of Ixalan.
Exactly. We're going to be evaluating these cards according to our 3-tiered system. Now, Tier 1, these are super awesome cards. They're going to be winning you the game. These are your bombs. These are your unconditional removal. Then we have Tier 2. These are also very good cards. They push you into a color, or if you're already in this color, these are auto-includes. And finally, we have the Tier 3 cards. These are your filler cards. You're going to make sure you have a nice balanced curve. All the rest of the cards, we're going to put those aside because they're either too conditional or just plain bad. So without further ado, let's get started with the commons. The first of our common white cards is Kinjali's Collar. For 1 white, we have a 0/3 human cleric, which states that dinosaur spells you cast cost 1 less generic mana to cast. First, we must denote that this set is a tribal set, which means that we have tons of dinosaurs, we have tons of merfolk, we have tons of vampires, and we have tons of pirates, which is super, super cool. However, that is mostly going to be very relevant for constructed, and when we're talking about limited, so in this case sealed or draft, there's going to be far less of these that you can be able to build a solid strategy around, which means that as exciting as this card looks, it is a card we're going to put aside.
Yeah, because it's too conditional, but of course if you draw a lot of good dinosaur cards, then yeah, then this becomes relevant, but still, generally speaking, put it aside.
Yeah, actually good point that you said draw, because even if you do open a lot of dinosaur cards, you want to include them. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be drawing those dinosaurs in that game, and even if you do, it doesn't also mean that when you do, you're also going to be drawing Kinjali's Collar at the same time, or more relevantly, before you are able to play those dinosaur cards. So there's a lot of hoops you got to jump through.
Yeah. Next one, Encampment Keeper. It's a white, it's a 1/1 hound. It has first strike, and for 7 and a white, tap, sacrifice Encampment Keeper, creatures you control get +2/+2 until end of turn. It's a 1/1 with first strike, which will not do anything. And then for 8 mana, and you have to tap it, and you pump your team up for one turn with 2/2. It's a lot of mana. You have to sacrifice it, you have to tap it, and that's why I don't like it. And body on its own is not good at all. No. So put it aside.
Yeah, something that we really like to denote when we're evaluating cards and we say how good a card is. A card that is especially good is when it's really good early and when it's also good late game. Now this is a card that tries to masquerade as that by saying, hey, early it's a 1/1 with an ability for only 1 mana, so you say that's good early, but it's not, because as Stefan already said, it doesn't do anything, also not early in the game. And secondly, you say, oh, but it's late game, it's also good because it's a mana sink, which as we know is very good. But the problem is, this thing needs to survive until that point of time. 8 mana is a lot. Even in limited, you're going to have a big problem getting to that mana. And finally, even if you top deck this late game, you also don't have anything because you can't do it right on the turn that comes in because it has summoning sickness. So all in all, it's kind of a trap card.
Yeah, it is.
Alright, next we have Slash of Talons. For a single white, it's an instant, and this card deals 2 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. Now this is exactly the kind of removal that white has very often. It's going to punish your opponents for attacking or blocking with a creature, and it is very, very good. Do not think that just the 2 damage is not going to do anything, because it's going to do tons. Not only because it's able to kill 2 or less toughness creatures, but also because it can kill bigger creatures when you are attacking and they block with something fatter, and then you're dealing damage, and then the additional damage will be just what can push it over the edge. So it kind of works as sort of, you can look at it as in situations, conditional removal, and other times like a combat trick.
Yeah, exactly. And people want to attack anyway, so they'll be attacking, they'll be blocking. Yeah. So
you have single mana.
Exactly. 1 mana keeping open, it's not much at all, and 2 damage on anything whenever it happens, it's just really nice.
Really good, huh?
Yeah. Demystify. 1 white, instant, destroy target enchantment. Like we've seen before, just put aside, too situational.
Very situational indeed. Next we have Vampire Zeal. For a single white, it's an instant. Target creature gets +2/+2 until the end of turn. Also, if it's a vampire, it gains first strike until the end of turn. Well, we know we have plenty of different creatures, but you can't really build your strategy around that. So let's just look at it if we don't have a vampire, which will be the case most of the time, and then for 1 mana, it gives target creature +2/+2 instant speed. Fine combat trick, will win you combats, we're going to put that in tier 3, a good filler card.
Exactly, and if you have a vampire, it's only gravy.
Yeah, one more division how you can look at the removal in tier levels. Tier 1 removal would be unconditional, so it just says, I will kill that thing, period. And then tier 2 removal is, I will kill that under certain conditions, but it's realistic conditions. And tier 3 removal are combat tricks.
Raptor Companion, 1 and a white, it's a 3/1 vanilla dinosaur. It's a tier 3 card, it's 3 power for 2 mana, so yeah, that's nice.
Stefan is less excited about these kind of cards. I really like my 3/1s for 2 mana because I think they're pretty good in attacking, they're pretty good in blocking, so I always enjoy playing those. Stefan, a little bit less excited about that, so take your pick on that.
It dies to everything!
But it also kills 3 toughness creatures for only 2 mana. And if they don't have a blocker early game, you're doing tons of damage.
Yeah. But then you will see someone will play the 1/1 first strike, and you're like, yeah.
Okay, but they shouldn't be. They shouldn't be playing.
But you know, people will.
True. All right, Skyblade of the Legion for 1 and a white. So for 2 mana, we get a 1/3 Vampire Soldier. This guy's got flying. Okay, so we all know that flyers are good. We do also know that 1 powered flyers are not really that great. It's not going to do enough damage over the course of the game. But because this thing has 3 toughness, once again, that makes it a pretty decent blocker. It's going to be able to stop all those 2/2s early game. And the fact it's flying, it also stops a lot of the flyers. 3 toughness in the air is quite a bit. So that's why it is a fine filler card. Tier 3.
Yeah. I do like my 1/3s a lot more than the 3/1s.
Sure, yeah.
Bishop's Soldier. It's a 1 and a white. It's a 2/2 Vampire Soldier with lifelink. It's a bear with lifelink, so it's already good with the upside, so tier 3.
Yeah, filler would already just be a 2/2 for 2.
Yeah.
Next with Territorial Hammer Skull for 2 and a white. So for 3 mana we get a 2/3 dinosaur. Now this is a fine body for 3 mana. A 2/3 is really good as it is able to kill 2/2s and not die itself. Also additionally, whenever this guy attacks, we're going to tap target creature an opponent controls. That is really, really strong. We put this in tier 3 as a filler, but just the body alone makes it filler, and just like with the Bishop Soldier, that the ability pushes it a little bit higher, as is the same with the Territorial Hammer Skull. The fact that it can attack and make sure that the best blocker that they have cannot block is very, very strong. The reason why it's not pushed into tier 2 is because, again, you're able to push through with some damage, but then it doesn't stop them from untapping that creature in their turn and attacking you conversely with and dealing their damage. So in a race, you're winning, but it's not always the best thing.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. Like, you can tap that big creature, and because then they can't block your smaller creature. But the thing is, the big creature will just attack you next turn. So that's, you have to watch out with that.
Exactly. Still strong though.
Yeah. Legion Conquistador. It's 2 and a white. It's a 2/2 Vampire Soldier. And when he enters the battlefield, you may search your library for any cards named Legion Conquistador. View them, put them into your hand, and shuffle your library. So if you have multiple of them, they search for each other, but it's a 2/2 for 3, which isn't that great. And then you have to cast them again multiple times, and is that really what you want? Do you really want to search up for more expensive 2/2s? And I don't think you want to do that. So that's why I put it aside.
Yeah, this is a kind of standard card that we'll see play, because you can make sure that you have 4 of these in your deck to get the most value out of them, but in limited, just not such a big chance. Of course, if you open 6, then maybe. Anyway, Queen's Commission for 2 and a white. So for 3 mana, we get a sorcery, and it's going to create 2 1/1 white vampire creature tokens with lifelink. Now, we're going to put this card aside. Some people may say, hey, wait a second, but you get 2 bodies, and it's got the lifelink. So in essence, it's like the 2/2 for 3 in this case with lifelink, but it's spread over 2 bodies. The one fact that they're 1/1s really hurts it very much. So the biggest benefit they have is in blocking big things and making sure that instead of dying, you actually gain 1 life, or losing life, you actually gain 1 life. But that is a scenario in which you are losing, and all it's doing is postponing your loss to a next turn or the turn after that, and it's not actually turning the game around. So we suggest that you actually better fill your 3 drop slot with something that might make more of an impact.
Yeah, and like Dave said, it's only It's 2 power, but it's 2 1/1s, and that's what I don't like about it. And you pay 3 mana for it, so yeah, just put it aside.
Yeah.
Legion's Judgment, 2 and a white, sorcery, destroy target creature with power 4 or greater. Tier 2, it's conditional removal, it removes big things, and you want to remove big things. So yeah, it does what you want.
Exactly.
So tier 2, play it.
Limited games are won very often by the bombs, and the bombs are big. Next, we have Ritual of Rejuvenation for 2 and a white, so for 3 mana with an instant. We're going to gain 4 life, and we're going to draw a card, and we're also going to put this card aside, because all it does is replace itself, so it's a cantrip, and we're paying that 3 mana to gain 4 life. And that is, once again, doesn't change the board state, doesn't pull you out of a losing situation, just postpones the inevitable, which is not great.
Looming Altisaur. It's 3 and a white, it's a 1/7 dinosaur. That's a really big butt, but it also doesn't really attack. For 4 mana, I really want like 2 power or something.
At least.
Yeah, I mean, it can have less butt, but 2 power would be a lot better, because this won't really do anything. So that's why I put it aside.
Yeah, very unfortunate, because it's an awesome looking cool dinosaur.
It is.
Yeah, well, then we can move on to Tarragon Night for 3 and a white. So for 4 mana, we get a 3/3, so the body's already filler right there. That's perfect. Also, this guy has flying as long as you control a dinosaur. We can't really count on that being the case, as once again, we might have this one, we might not have the dinosaur, we might have the dinosaur, we might not have this one, or we might have a situation where we don't have either one, or we get them, but they're so far away during the game that they don't actually see each other, so we can't build around it. But the fact that for 4 mana, it's a 3/3 with potential upside is good enough to be a good filler card.
Yeah, and like, there are a couple dinosaurs in white, so the off chance you get a dinosaur, the payout is so good.
It's super strong. Yeah, it's a
so
good pay. Yeah, the upside is a very large upside. That's
exactly
true. Yeah.
Paladin of the Bloodstained, 3 and a white, it's a 3/2 Vampire Knight, and when Paladin of the Bloodstained enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 white vampire creature token with lifelink. It's a 4 mana 3/2, which I don't really like, and you get a 1/1 with lifelink. So it's like you get 2 bodies, 4 power, 3 toughness. Not really that much of a fan of it, but it's a decent filler.
Yeah. Think about what a big difference it already is between the card that you're paying 3 mana for 2 1/1s with lifelink, or now you're paying only 1 extra mana, and now that 1/1 with lifelink has turned into a 3/2, which is a substantial upgrade.
Yeah.
So yes, also that shows the difference between, also within the set, how bad the other card is and how good this one is relative, that this is still just a filler card. Then we move on to a card that's not just a filler card, and that is Pious Interdiction for 3 and a white. So for 4 mana, we're going to be able to enchant a creature, we're going to gain 2 life, and then that creature can't attack or block anymore. This is, well, yeah, still conditional removal, but it is pretty close to unconditional removal in the sense it's going to stop everything from doing anything pretty much, except for abilities, which is unfortunate, but most big things are going to be want to attack or block, and this stops that. So tier 2, very strong.
Yeah, you have to remember that the thing still stays on the table. So, like we've seen before, like if you have a dinosaur, then this will happen. It will still happen.
Yeah, so that's why it's not as good as unconditional, but pick it really highly.
Yeah. If you see this, you're gonna play this.
Yeah, if you're in white, it's auto-include.
Yeah,
for sure.
Sunrise Seeker, 4 and a white, it's a 3/3 human scout, and it has vigilance, and when it enters the battlefield, it explores. Explore is a new mechanic, and what it says is reveal the top card of your library, put a card into your hand if it's a land, otherwise put a +1/+1 counter on the creature, and then put the card back, or put on top, or put it in your graveyard. So, or you draw a land, or you can scry and get a counter. Scry-ish, yeah. I mean, sometimes putting in graveyard is better, but yeah.
So what do we think of the card?
Yeah, 5 mana, it's a 3/3 with vigilance, which may get you a land, which may be a 4/4. It's like tricky, it's a because it's so late game, the land doesn't really matter that much. But the thing is, if you draw a land, it's a land that you won't draw next turn, so that's nice.
Yeah, it's still a draw.
Yeah, it's still a draw. And a 4/4 with vigilance is pretty good.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't always include it, but I would put it as a good filler.
Exactly. The fact that most of the time it's going to be a 4/4 with vigilance, that's pretty sweet that we know that already. And most of the time it's not going to be drawing you that land because of just the amount of lands and other cards that you got. So it's pretty cool.
Because you'll be playing 1/3 land around that and 2/3 of other spells. So you can say around 2/3 of the time you will trigger the +1/+1 counter. That's kind of a good way to look at it.
And it's also digging you through the next best card that you want, because you can look at it and go, okay, this is not what I want. Let's put it in the graveyard. Or yes, exactly, this is what I want. And then you're going to draw it next turn. And then the last of the commons, and that is Shining Eros for 4 and a white. So for 5 mana, we get a 4/3 dinosaur with flying. It doesn't need anything more than that. This is super, super strong. That butt is massive. The power is huge. I mean, what's not to love about a giant flying dinosaur that's going to be winning games? I think definitely tier 2, if you're on white, you have to play. So you got a couple of these that pushes you into white super hard, because I just don't see very much else being a contender in the sky. And you can even block a lot of ground pounders too.
A lot, and that's what it makes it. That's what the strength is of this card, because even though like it's good in the sky, it's also good on the ground.
Yeah, super strong. Love those dinosaurs. Now we can move on to the uncommons.
The first uncommon is Duskborn Skywatcher. It's 1 white, it's a 1/1 vampire cleric with flying, and for 1 white tap, target attacking vampire gets +1/+1 until end of turn. So it won't give itself +1/+1, and you have to have another vampire, and a 1/1 flying isn't that great, so just put it aside.
Exactly. It looks like it's going to do more, but it's really not. I think it's a trap. Next, we have Sheltering Light for a single white. It is an instant. Target creature gains indestructible until the end of turn, and scry 1. Now, this is tier 2, and you may be wondering, why is this tier 2? Because this is just something that protects one of your bombs, which we normally put aside because we don't want to be building cards around protecting our bombs. What pushes us over the edge is that usually those cards don't allow you to win combat by flickering, for example, so this one allows you to win combat. It protects your creature against also destruction spells, and it's also a single one mana, which means it's actually more realistic to keep it open versus a lot of times these cards are 2 mana or 3 mana. And finally, the scry 1, which means it kind of half replaces itself. So it's an extremely good, it's such a good deal. It's good early, it's good late. You're gonna find the time to use it, and you're gonna find the time to make sure that that your opponent's gonna lose a card, a valuable card, because of this.
Yeah, it's just so good. The scry and indestructible, instant speed, 1 mana, everything's just so good.
Pushed.
Yeah. Imperial Lancer, it's 1 mana, it's a 1/1 human knight. Imperial Lancer has double strike as long as you control a dinosaur. So if you have a dinosaur, it's kinda 2/2. But is that really what you want? Because you have to have a dinosaur, else it's a 1/1 for 1. So you just put it aside and play a 2/2 then.
Yeah, just play a 2/2.
Yeah.
No need to have this on turn 1. Then we move to Adanto Vanguard for 1 and a white. So for 2 mana, we get a 1/1 Vampire Soldier. This guy has +2/+0 when it's attacking. And we get to pay 4 life and then give this guy indestructible. That is huge. Being able to do that instant speed, you don't even need to keep your mana open. That is really, really strong. And you can really look at it as being a 3/1 offensive creature for 2 mana, which is fine with me. That's fine in my book, with of course the potential to make it indestructible, which means blocking is going to be a pain in the butt. I never mind paying life to get rid of our opponent's decent creature. Of course, downside is, of course, they're going to be blocking with those 1/1s, but if they're smart, they're not playing those 1/1s, right?
Exactly. The thing is, we now make those 3/1s like good, and then like playing 1/1s.
Yes, that's true. That's true. But so in all, it's a very good filler card. I would use it highly in filling out the deck.
Emissary of Sunrise, 2 and a white. It's a 2/1 human cleric with first strike. And when Emissary of Sunrise enters the battlefield, it explores. So most of the times it will be a 3/2 with first strike, which is really, really good. And else it's a 2/1 with first strike, which drew you a card.
Yeah.
Also not bad at all.
Yeah.
For 3 mana, just play this one.
Yeah, because at turn 3, it's still pretty early to make that land very relevant for drawing that. And of course, being able to kill 3/3s by itself, it's huge on being able to put this down on turn 3. Massive card. Always play it if you're in white. Inspiring Cleric is next for 2 and a white. So for 3 mana, we get a 3/2 Vampire Cleric. The body is fine for the mana cost. Additionally, when it enters the battlefield, you gain 4 life. So it's a fine filler. You get a little bonus of getting a little bit of life. Not bad. I wouldn't play because of that, but it's just a good filler. Tier 3.
Yeah. Rallying War. 2 and a white, instant. Creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. Untap them. As you know, we really love those untap effects. It's 3 mana, which is maybe a lot, but you can also do it when you attack, pump your dudes, give them pseudo vigilance. And else you attack with it, they didn't block, and then they attack, you untap everything, pump them up. It's so good.
Yeah,
it's a really good filler.
Yeah, they're going to be losing a couple of creatures when you play this. It's definitely worth it to keep the 3 mana open for this. Then we have Ixalan's Binding for 3 and a white. So for 4 mana we get an enchantment. Now with this thing enters the battlefield, we're going to be exiling target non-land permanent opponent controls until this card leaves the battlefield. So it's kind of like an Oblivion Ring. But also, your opponents can't cast spells with the same name of the exiled card. Okay, so it's going to be less relevant in Draft and Sealed, in the sense that they'll probably be playing different stuff. But just simply the fact that it is unconditional removal, it removes anything, and of course it also hits planeswalkers, artifacts, enchantments. It makes this removal so extremely powerful, and that's why I say tier 1, because maybe this card doesn't win you the game in like a bomb deals damage, but it does stop your opponent from winning the game with the thing that they needed to win the game with.
Yeah, it stops your opponent from winning just unconditionally, and that's really nice.
Super strong, yeah.
Imperial Aerosol. 3 and a white, it's a 3/3 dinosaur with flying. And when Imperial Aerosol enters the battlefield, another target creature you control gets +1/+1 and gains flying until end of turn. So with 4 mana, you already have some creatures, you pump it up, and you give it flying for a turn. When this comes in, it's just really good. And even without, it's still a 3/3 flyer for 4, which is already really good.
Yeah.
Tier 2, always play it.
Yeah, love these kind of cards. Already, just imagine you just got a 2/2, and then on turn 4, this thing comes in. You're attacking on turn 4 with a 3/3 flyer. Super nice. Then we have Steadfast Armasaur for 3 and a white. So 4 mana gives a 2/3 dinosaur with vigilance. So the body's, You think, okay, this is not too exciting, but then we look at the ability. For 1 and a white and tapping this creature, then this guy deals damage equal to its toughness to target creature blocking or blocked by it. So what this actually is saying is that in essence, it is kind of like a 5/3, but it also kind of has 3 power first strike. Because if you attack with it, it has vigilance, so you don't have to tap it, and then somebody blocks with their 3 toughness creature, and then what you can do is you can pay the mana, tap it, and then you're dealing that damage, that 3 toughness damage, let's say, before the combat damage stuff. So you can essentially kill that creature before it has a chance to hit you. So that is really strong, and also what's cool is that if they don't block and you're dealing the 2 damage, then of course in your turn when they attack you, you can do it as well by blocking their creature and then tapping it and paying the mana. So it's
their turn, they attack
in their turn if they attack you, exactly. You can block with your thing, so it works both ways. That's very strong.
Yeah, I really like this one, and tier 2 always play this one.
Yeah, awesome.
So good.
Awesome.
Bright Reprisal.
Reprisal, yeah.
Reprisal. 4 and a white, instant, destroy target attacking creature, draw a card. Just tier 2, it's 5 mana, destroy any creature that attacks you. Sure, we want to do that anyways. Yeah. And it'll give me a card. I'm happy with that.
Super happy. Always play it. Yeah. Glorifier of Dusk for 3 and 2 white. So for 5 mana, we get a 4/4 Vampire Soldier. So the body's already really nice. For 5 mana, 4/4, I'm happy with that. Additionally, we can pay 2 life and then give it flying, or we can pay 2 life and give it vigilance. Okay, so yeah, that's actually really strong. I mostly see the situation where we're going to be paying 2 life every turn to give it flying, because a 4/4 flyer wins games pretty much.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, tier 2 all the way.
Exactly.
Always played in white.
We've seen those cards like we have to pay life, but remember life is also resource. If you're still at 1 at the end of the game, you're still winning.
Yeah.
And for 2 life, you get 4 damage in, which just means you're winning.
Yeah.
So I really like this one.
Super strong.
Last of the uncommons, Bellowing Aegisaur. It's 5 and a white, it's a 3/5 dinosaur, and it has Enrage. Enrage is whenever Bellowing Aegisaur is dealt damage, put a +1/+1 counter on each other creature you control. So it's a 3/5 for 6, which isn't that great. It has a big butt, but if every time it blocks or every time it becomes blocked, it will pump the rest of your team, and that's so good. Especially in white, you play a lot of creatures, and maybe you play the 3 mana 1/1s.
No, you don't. But even your 2/2s becoming 3/3s.
No, exactly.
It's sick.
Just,
yeah.
But with these kind of cards, it's just so insane because it will pump your team every single turn, and if it doesn't, then your opponent's not attacking.
Yeah. Worst case scenario, it stops them from attacking with all the smaller stuff because they don't even want the chance of you getting those +1/+1 counters. And finally, even worse case scenario than that, you say, okay, you know what, I'm just gonna attack with Bellowing Aegisaur one time, it's gonna die, but my entire team gets pumped, and the power and the toughness I get for that in return is still gonna be huge. So it's good all the time.
Exactly. And even when it dies after blocking or anything, it will still pump your team. And if someone deals damage to it, like burn spell, it still pumps your team.
Also still,
so it doesn't only combat damage.
What a great little Ankylosaurus.
Yeah, this will gonna win you the game, tier 1.
Love it, love it. Alright, that is the last of the uncommons. Let's have a look at the rares. Just a little correction, the last card, Bellowing Aegisaur, we of course said tier 1 because we're super excited, but of course it is a tier 2 card because it doesn't win the game by itself. It's still super, super strong. Play it always if you're in white. Now we're going to move on to the first card of the rares, and that is Legion's Landing. That is the first of our flip cards. It is for a single white mana. It's a legendary enchantment. When this guy enters the battle, or this enchantment enters the battlefield, we're going to create a 1/1 white vampire creature token with lifelink, and of course we know how excited I am about those. Additionally, when you attack with 3 or more creatures in a turn, we're going to transform this thing. And it's going to transform into Adanto the First Fort. It's a legendary land, so it taps for a single white mana. But additionally, we can pay 2 and a white and tap this land to create a 1/1 white vampire creature token with lifelink, which of course we know how much I like those. Sarcasm aside, this card is not great. First of all, the 1 mana for the 1/1 with lifelink, that's already by itself is not good enough to be included. Secondly, to have it turn into a land, you're going to need to attack with 3 creatures, which is, I think, very difficult to get done in Limited because you usually have 1 or maybe 2 creatures that can attack effectively. Once you start attacking with 3 creatures, you're going to be losing stuff. So the payoff for losing that creature that shouldn't have gone into combat better be pretty high, and the fact that it's going to turn into a land, okay, yay, but you're also paying 3 mana to create those 1/1s, which are not going to be doing very much other than blocking and postponing the inevitable. So I'm not excited about that. Paying 4 mana, because of course this also is a land in essence. So yeah, I'm not too excited about that.
No, creating a token every turn is actually really nice, but for 4 mana, so you have gone through all those hoops. It's a bad card late game, and then you finally have it, and you pay 4 mana for a 1/1 with lifelink.
No, too many hoops.
Yeah,
payoff's bad.
Priest of the Awakening Sun. It's 1 white. It's a 1/1 human cleric. At the beginning of the upkeep, you may reveal a dinosaur card from your hand. If you do, you gain 2 life. It is before you draw a card though, which is a shame.
Yeah.
And for 3 and 2 white, sacrifice Priest of the Awakening Sun, search your library for a dinosaur card, reveal it, put it in your hand, and shuffle your library. So you can search up for a dinosaur, but do you have a dinosaur which is worth to play another card for, and to pay 5 mana extra for it, 6 mana extra for it? And I don't think so.
No. This is great for those commander players building that dinosaur tribal deck.
Exactly, but else just put it aside.
Exactly. Next card, we have Ashes of the Abhorrent for 1 and a white. So for 2 mana, we've got an enchantment, Players can't cast spells from graveyards or activate abilities from cards in graveyards. Okay, so that would have been great with the last set. And whenever a creature dies, you gain 1 life. Okay, I don't know how to be more sarcastic about this, but I really do not like this. I don't think it's going to be doing anything at all. Please don't play it. Put it aside. Once again, pretty good commander card, but don't play it in limited.
Exactly. There's not. I don't think there's any card that does anything from the graveyard. There's like 1 card, I think. So if you play against that 1 card in this set in limited, just don't play it.
Just don't play it. Yeah.
Tokatli Hana card. 1 on a white, 1/3 human soldier. Creatures enter the battlefield does not cause abilities to trigger. So enter battlefield triggers won't happen anymore. It's a 1/3 for 2, which I like. It's a tier 3.
Yeah, it's a symmetrical effect, which means that since we're playing a lot of mix of different cards in limited, it's probably going to hurt you about as much as it's going to hurt your opponent unless you try and build around it, and you shouldn't build around it because this is a rare card, so you won't have many of these. So in essence, you can just disregard that whole symmetrical effect, and you're paying 2 mana for a 1/3, which is okay as a filler spot.
Exactly. But you really have to remember that you shouldn't hurt yourself more than the opponent.
Exactly. Don't do that. That's a good policy. That's a good policy to have. Unless you're racing so hard that you could pull that off.
Yeah. But I mean, with the end of the battlefield triggers.
Oh, with the end of the battlefield triggers. Yeah, sure. True. Sanguine Sacrament is next for X and 2 white. It's an instant, and we're going to be gaining twice the amount of mana life that we put into X. And then we're going to put this card on the bottom of our library, okay? So let's say we have 6 mana, so X is going to be 4, so we're going to be gaining 8 life. So we're paying 6 mana for 8 life instant speed, which doesn't change board state, doesn't push you ahead, doesn't hurt your opponent, doesn't do anything but postpone the inevitable. Your death. Exactly. in case it wasn't clear. So we're going to put that card aside.
King Jelly's Sunwing. 2 on a white. It's a 2/3 dinosaur with flying. Creature opponent enters the battlefield tapped. So that's nice. It's a 2/3 for 3 mana flying. Already great. Your creature opponent controls comes in battlefield tap. Already great. Play it. Tier 2.
So strong. I love, not only is it an awesome pterodactyl, which I love, but also the fact that it's got the 3 but in the air, which is huge, the 2 power, decent, and of course it's non-symmetrical. This does not make all other creatures enter the battlefield tap. It only makes your opponent's creatures enter the battlefield tap, which is huge, which is actually going to be a very good benefit. And most creatures have the ability, actually pretty much all creatures have the ability to block on the turn that they come in, and this actually negates that. So it shuts down haste creatures plus the creatures that can block. So that's awesome. Mavrin Fane Dusk Apostle is next for 2 and a white. We get a 2/2. It's a vampire cleric. Additionally, whenever 1 or more non-token vampires you control attack, we're going to be making one of those 1/1 vampire creature tokens with lifelink that I like so much. This is actually okay, because the fact is that it also counts itself. So in essence, for 3 mana, you get a 2/2, which is a little bit more expensive than what we'd like, but already after its first attack, it's going to be giving us an extra body. And any extra vampire we have is also going to be adding to that, as long as they're vampire cards and not tokens. And if this guy attacks a couple of times, it's actually starting to make a little bit of an army. The problem is, how many times will it be able to attack? Not that many times. If you can get 1 or 2 attacks in it, it's totally worth it. Tier 3.
Yeah, because if you only get 1 attack in and it immediately dies, you'll probably be trading with a 2/2. Then you trade it with a 2/2 and you got a 1/1 vampire out of it with lifelink. So
you're up
ahead. It's not a bad, exactly. Yeah. Settle the Wreckage. 2 and 2 white. It's an instant. Exile all attacking creatures target player controls. That player may search his or her library for that many basic land cards, put it on battlefield tapped, and shuffle his or her library. So someone's gonna attack you with a couple creatures, you're gonna exile all of them, you're gonna give them some basic lands, but that doesn't matter because you killed a lot of his creatures. So tier 1, play this, you're gonna win with this.
Yeah, this is, it's unsymmetrical board wiping.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that wins games, absolutely. Then we have Bishop of Rebirth for 3 and 2 white, so for 5 mana we get a 3/4. Vampire Cleric, decent body, vigilance, a lot of vigilance in this set. Have you noticed?
Yeah.
They're really pushing the vigilance for white in either case. Whenever Bishop of Rebirth attacks, you may return target creature card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So it's kind of a little baby Sun Titan over here. It's getting its education to become a full-fledged Sun Titan. But in essence, it's actually pretty decent. I would always play this if I was in white. It would probably return one thing, and as we already looked at before, being able to trade and getting us cards back is pretty good because it's going to push us ahead in the long run. So tier 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's still for mana cost 3 or less, so you won't really get that impactful things back, but still you get things back.
Yeah, and of course, if they don't kill it, it's got vigilance, so you can block with it next turn, and the 4 toughness is going to stop a lot of things.
Yeah. And you have extra power and toughness to block with.
Additionally, yeah. Super sweet.
And the last of the rares, going Ceratops. It's 5 and 2 blue, 2 white.
We're almost in blue already.
Almost,
You're right,
almost.
we're almost in blue.
Got too excited. Got
Yeah.
too excited. 5 and 2 white. It's a 3/3 dinosaur with double strike. Whenever going Ceratops attacks, all the creatures you control gain double strike until end of turn. This is really good. And if you have a couple creatures, it's just insane. But you still need the other creatures. And else it's still for 7 mana, 3/3 double strike. And I don't think that's actually enough to push it in tier 1.
I think it's definitely enough to push it in tier 1 because you don't, unlike the other card, that other card requires more creatures. This one doesn't actually require more creatures because the fact that it's dealing 6 damage for 7 mana, I think is sufficient. Not just because it's 6 damage, but also because the first 3 of that is first strike, and then the regular strike, which makes it better than 6 damage. So I think this card can win games by itself, and as soon as you start being able to attack with some evasion creatures along with this guy, then it's going to be winning you the game. So I definitely think it's tier 1.
Yeah, and because I actually like this because if you have even one creature, any creature at all, then it's like so much
doubles
better.
it.
Yeah,
it doesn't just give it a +1 counter like the other one. This one doubles its power.
Exactly.
Which is so much bigger. Yeah.
And first strike is so relevant all the time. So yeah. If you see this, think about playing white.
Yeah, think long. Actually, I was gonna say think long and hard, but actually think short and just play it because it's gonna be winning games. Super, super sweet. Now we move on to the mythics.
The first mythic is Access of Mortality. It's 4 and 2 white. It's enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may have 2 target players exchange life totals. That is really cool, but it's really cool in ADH or something like that, where you can actually control what you're doing more often. You're playing this on turn 6. You're not doing the turn anything a turn, and then he might kill you this turn, or if that happens, then you still don't have done anything to actually make an impact. So just don't play it. It is really cool, but it will do a lot less than you think it will.
Yeah, the way that this card works and how it traps you is that the way that it is they word it and the way that the card works is that it puts you in a mind frame where you think to yourself, in this scenario, this would be super strong, but it actually limits your view of what all the other situations are in a game of Magic during Limited, and you're just looking at only this one scenario thinking this is extremely powerful. But the problem is that in 90% of the rest of the games you're going to be playing, the rest of Magic is happening, and that is a situation where this card is going to be hurting you more than it's going to be helping you. So please also, when you look at these things, try and look at, okay, but what about a situation which is not exactly this ideal Magical Christmas Land scenario? What does it do then? And then usually what it does is wasted you a card, it lost you the turn, and you're probably dead. Probably dead. Now, card that will not put you in that situation is Wakening Sun's Avatar for 5 and 3 white, so that's 8 mana, which is hefty. We talked about this already. 8 is a lot of mana to get to. It's very difficult to get to in Limited, so it better be huge what you get. The payoff better not be your creatures get +2/+2 till the end of turn. So what do we get? We get a 7/7 dinosaur avatar. Additionally, when this guy enters the battlefield, you may cast it. If it enters the battlefield, you can cast it from your hand, destroy all non-dinosaur creatures. So you have to cast it. So you can't just play it, cheat it in, but you don't really have a way of doing that in this set. So if you do cast it, you're going to be destroying all non-dinosaur creatures. There's a chance that your opponent has some dinosaurs, true. You might not have any dinosaurs, but in the end, you do have a 7/7, which is pretty much the biggest thing on the battlefield. I'm trying to think. Yeah, nothing can tussle with this thing and survive. So it wins you the game, pretty much right there.
Yeah, it will win you the game. It's a board wipe, and you will still have a 7/7 at the end of the board wipe. Just play it tier 1. If you see this, just think, maybe I should play white.
Yeah, and especially if your opponents are heavy on merfolk, vampires, and pirates, then you're just, it's just brutal. But even if they have a few dinosaurs, nothing can beat the 7/7.
Yeah, it's so big. The 7/7 is so big.
And it's great it's great early game, because when you draw it, you think, hey, now I can play around this. So I'll make sure that I don't play all my non-dinosaur creatures, and make sure that when I get to that point, I haven't lost all my stuff. And it's a great late game, because if you top deck it, oh great, boom, I can pop it down and destroy their battlefield.
Yeah.
Super strong. Those are the mythics. Let's have a look at the conclusion. In conclusion, I see white as not a very good primary color. I see it more as probably a support color in this set. Naturally, once again, we always talk about this, that white can do a lot of different things, so it often falls into a support category because it's got the evasion, it's got the removal, it can do a lot, you can make a lot of tokens, there's a lot of different stuff that white can do. It doesn't do any particular thing super, doesn't have the biggest stuff, let's say. But we've looked at the commons, which are okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Decent.
But the uncommons are very strong. So we have a lot of good uncommon cards in there, especially those dinosaurs are very good in white uncommon. Very happy with that. And the rares are actually also quite disappointing. And mythics, if you pull the dinosaur, then you're winning. So.
Yeah. But that's all. It's kind of always
true. You can't really build a strategy around the mythics.
So yeah, the rares, mythics, it's like nice to look at them, but you don't really need to count or can count on them.
Yeah.
And you really have to look more at the commons and uncommons.
Yeah. So not too exciting, right?
Not too exciting, but to be honest, it's not that bad, because we still have the good flyers. We still have some movable. So I'm happy with that. Yeah,
so it'll probably be supporting you. We're gonna, especially if we compare it to blue, which we're going to be looking at next. Blue is very, very strong, so we're going to be seeing exactly the difference in power level between the blue common and uncommon cards and the white ones that we just discussed right now. But before you go into the blue video, I'd like to also remind you that we have a Patreon page, so if you want to support us, help us out, really appreciate it. Go over to patreon.com/budgetmtgdecks. If you become a patron, I'd like to let you know that I recently recorded a video of me getting hit in the face with a couple of 100 pies.
That was fun. It was not 100.
I was a couple hundred. It felt like 100. It was like 6 pies, 7 pies or something.
It's a couple.
And you hit me hard. you hit me hard with your pies. So if you want to check that out, go to patreon.com. Also join us on Facebook and Twitter at Budget MTG Decks, where we have discussions about these cards. Let us know, do you agree with our evaluation? Do you disagree? What cards are you looking forward to? What colors do you think are the best? Let us know. We can have discussions over there. Also, subscribe to us here on YouTube. Hit that little bell button so you're reminded when the next video comes out for the most powerful decks and advice everyone can afford. So that's it. Thanks for watching. I'm David.
I'm Stefan.
This is Budget MTG Decks.
Playing you was fun. Playing you was a lot of fun.